Good morning. Happy Monday. Jackie Broman here. One of the first coldest mornings that we've had so far, I think, for this season. So coming to you live like I do most Mondays at 10. Today's topic is about discrimination. If you have any questions or any examples or things that you want me to talk about, topics you want me to talk about, please let me know. But today is discrimination. So discrimination covers a lot of areas, and it's whether it's unlawful or not. So that is really the crux of it. So there's legislation at the federal level and at the state level. At the state level, it's the Equal Opportunity Act, and at most states they have one of those. And it describes discrimination as protecting against people being discriminated against on the basis of sex, gender, sexual orientation, pregnancy, breastfeeding, marital status, race, colour, ethnicity, disability, age, industrial activity, like if you're a part of the union, physical features like height or size, religious beliefs, political beliefs, parental or carer status, or personal association with any of the above. So that is generally what equal opportunity legislation protects against. However, you are allowed to discriminate against someone in certain aspects of life. So it's not illegal across the board to discriminate against someone, because in some personal scenarios, you may not want to include those any of those sorts of people in something that you're doing that's not a public event. So as something personal, you have the right to discriminate. However, when it is unlawful is when it's in relation to employment. That's fairly obvious. You can't discriminate in relation to employment. Education, so everyone's entitled to education, they can't be discriminated against. Provision of goods or services, so again, it's something that's happening on the economic or public sphere. Accommodation, so including rental or holiday accommodation. Club memberships, so you can't discriminate against people for certain memberships or sports, and local government. So those are the general arenas in which it's unlawful to discriminate on any of those bases that I just spoke about. Now, it's interesting in terms of club membership, for example, because we have lots and lots of clubs that are either men only or women only clubs. So if someone wants to discriminate and it's unlawful, they have to go to the Human Rights Commission to get an exemption. So particularly all these women's gyms, you will find that they would have been issued an exemption from the Human Rights Commission to be allowed to discriminate and only allow women in. So that's I suppose an interesting point, that if you want to discriminate in any of these areas and it is unlawful, you can go and get an exemption before you do it. So like I said, Equal Opportunity Act is the main one at state level. At federal level, you've got the Sex Discrimination Act, the Racial Discrimination Act, Disability Discrimination Act, and the Race Discrimination Act. And they've also got the Fair Work Act, which sort of covers everything to do with employment as well. So we've got heaps of legislation to cover any certain scenario. The issue then also comes down to what do you do if you are discriminated against? And how do you prove it? Because sometimes it's very subtle and it's not direct discrimination. And sometimes, unfortunately, you do need to let those slide if the consequences aren't huge and you don't want to take a stand. However, there are certain tribunals where you can make complaints. So at the federal level, under any of those four discrimination acts that I just read out, you've got the Human Rights Commission. At the state level, you've got VCAT is the place to go to, or there's also a Victorian Equal Opportunities Commission. So that's where you'd go if you had a dispute at the state level, which is generally the place to go. But if it's in relation to employment, you go to Fair Work. So you can see why it's so confusing. And if someone is discriminated against, and like I said, it's not overt, and you've got all these places you could go, and potentially they're not all that helpful, why people give up on it so often. But we are protected, and like I said a couple of weeks ago, thinking about human rights, I think in terms of our rights not to be discriminated against, at the moment in this climate, we need to make sure that our rights don't slip. So I think just bear those in mind. I think that at the moment there's the potential that the disabled and the elderly get discriminated against. So we do need to watch out for people who are minorities or less able to protect themselves. So that then was all I really had to say about discrimination. It's just a general overview, as I do every Monday at 10. Like I said at the start, if there's any particular topic that you want me to talk on, please let me know. You can comment on any of the videos and I'll see that pop up. Or you can direct message me on Facebook, or of course, all our direct email addresses are available on our website. All these videos also get saved to the page, so if you go to the video link on our TBA Law page, you can go scroll back through all the different topics that we've already done. If there's anything that's relevant to anyone you know, please tag their name on it or send it to them via direct message. And otherwise, I hope you have a great week. I'm really hoping that we get some relaxation of restrictions at the moment, but at the same time, I feel like there's going to be so many people relax too much and just flout the system that it might be dangerous, but hoping to move forward. Anyway, see you next Monday at 10.